So today I wanted to do a webinar on strengths to follow on the one on the values, because they really complement each other, as Claire said. And many of us probably, I don't know if you know your strengths, but for me, it's been a realization the last 4 years as I started my coaching journey to discover my own strengths. I think we have a negative bias as human beings to really focus our attention on all the negatives and the not good enough. So today I want you to play with you today and say, hey, let's explore our strengths and see what we can do with them, because it's really powerful. And this comes from the positive psychology research. So let's dive in. So just to clarify, I'm a career coach, also a life coach and business coach. I do a lot of different things, interventions, and I've been doing that for 4 years now. And as you can see, I run webinars as well, and do one-to-one coaching for individuals and for companies as well. All right. Are you ready? Okay, so what we're going to do today is look at some definition for strengths, because there are different ways of defining them. So we're going to make sure we're all on the same page when we talk about strengths. Also, why it is so important to know them and in order to use them. Yep. And obviously, we're going to look at your own strengths, how different steps to spot them, and spot them in others. And it's not just the end of the journey, oh, I know my strength, this is it. It's how you can boost them and enable them, and actually also use them in the right way at the right time. If you want to write in the chat what you think a strength is, and then Sarah will read it out to me.
So we've got Jeremy says that they decided it was something that you are genuinely good at. Other people agree with you. So Lawrence says what you're good at and what you enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. Something that you consistently demonstrate to others. That's good. Consistently is key, isn't it? And Phil says a strength is something that's always there no matter what you're doing. Can be innate or learned. Being authentic to the self. That's good. Something that enables you to do better in a certain domain and allows you to make the world a better place. Ooh, I like that. Very good.
Very positive.
We've got Claire back now as well. Something that you develop. We thought that strengths are qualities that can be either your talents or that you can develop as a result of experiences that lead to positive achievements in your life. Very good. Context dependent. Strengths in one context could be weakness in another. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. And strengths are some of the easier ways with which one can add value to the world with ease. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Shall we dive in then? Thank you very much for your contribution. I think you've got the gist of it. Yeah, they're there, as somebody said. Yeah, so they're not going to disappear completely. They might phase out if you don't pay attention to them. And as you said, it's something like it's part of a recurring, there's a pattern there, which is important. Typically it's a talent that comes innately, but as somebody say, that can be developed. So that's where there's a bit of gray area around the definition of a strength. But one key example, an example could be you've got an eye for detail, you're a keen observer, that could be one of your strengths. It's something you're really good at, and there are your unique attributes. Okay, so that's the idea. What we need to make that a strength, somebody mentioned enjoyment, so that's really important. And we have 3 elements to make it a strength. So we've got authenticity, so somebody said that already. So there's something that comes naturally. It's really your real you. It's easy. You're not even trying. It's so natural that you don't even know it's there, for instance, if you don't pay attention, because it's so innate. It brings you joy, energy, vitality. It's not draining your energy. It's really giving you a buzz. I think Claire used that yesterday when we were practicing. And it makes you succeed. So you're going to perform really, really well. So some skills that we have are not necessarily strengths. So for example, you could be a very good mathematician, very good with numbers, but you might find it utterly boring. So this is when we reflect, this is really the important is how is it making you feel? Yeah. So it's not just what you do, what the task you're doing, but it's how you're doing that we're going to concentrate on today. So that's the key difference. Okay. Strength is something you do extremely well, consistently, and based on your natural pattern of thinking, feeling, or doing, but brings you joy and satisfaction. So as we go along, if you have any questions, just either park them or put them in the chat, and Sarah, you keep a log of them, and then we will have a big Q&A at the end. If something really like you want to share, just raise your hand, and then we can also, we have time for that, for your contribution as we go along. Okay, so strengths can be categorized in two ways. It's your character strengths and your personal strengths. So your personal strengths are all your attributes, your skills, your transferable skills, your knowledge-based skills, your personal traits. And then I don't know if you've heard of the VII. I'm going to show you in a minute. Your character strengths are what you call virtues in action. So this is how they demonstrate in your actions. And then it's a bigger umbrella of strength. Like for example, I used to teach for a long time. I had very good classroom management. That was my skill. I was really good at that. But what made me the teacher I was more my social intelligence, how I could relate with my students. So if you remember, your top teachers were probably the connection you had with the teacher more than how they delivered their subjects, their curriculum. Okay, so as somebody said rightly, strengths are like muscles. Yeah, so they can be developed, they can be changed, fine-tuned, so they're not just there. You can do something with them, which is great for our growth. Yeah, and we all have them in different degrees. So it's not like if a strength is a lower degree becomes a weakness. No, it's just not as developed as another strength. So you might not rely on that strength that much. So that's why if you start doing some tests, you will see that they're being ranked. They give some percentages, so some are more prevalent than others. And somebody said that as well, they show up in different environments. So for example, the strengths can be there in your relationship at home, but not there at work. Yeah, so you need to start looking at where your strengths show up as well. And the great stuff that represent the best in us, yeah, that really makes us unique, our strength. Remember, a strength is not just in isolation, they will work with other strengths. It's the whole combination that makes it really good for us. Okay, so as I mentioned, so this is from positive psychology, from Seligman research. So the VI character strength is something that we're going to develop a thinking today, because this is much more than just our little skills. Yeah. So we're going to look at that. You should have received, and I think Sarah, you're going to put these in the chat if people haven't been able to download these files. So
yes, yeah, it's right at the top of the chat. If you need the worksheet, you can download it from there.
So, for instance, if I pick one, I will tell you that during my coaching, I use a lot of my empathy. So where do you think empathy comes in, under which virtue and which strength? So if you want to answer in the chat, where do you think empathy sits in there?
Okay, most people are coming back with humanity from that, Carol.
Yeah, yeah. And from this one, it's kindness we look into. Yeah, okay. So it's good to take this bird's view and see, oh, what is this? What my strength is. Okay. So we will look at this one. And also, if some of you might know of the Clifton StrengthsFinder, so this one compared to the other one measures 34 strengths rather than 24 strengths. This used to be called StrengthsFinder, so you might know about this. and this is more talent strength and the skills that you've already developed. And the key questions here is what's best about you already that you do at work. So I've put some of mine on there. So learner, I love learning. That's something which is really part of me. I've looked throughout my life. This is a recurring thing always. Okay. So this you have as well, which you will use when you go in breakout rooms. Any questions so far? Is that, just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay, no questions coming through at the moment.
Okay,
Also,
carry on. Okay, so now we're going to talk about strengths and weaknesses, and Sarah's got a poll for us to ask you a question.
Yeah, so we're just going to put this poll up, and if you could answer one of the answers, then that we get an idea of what you're thinking. So hopefully you can all see the poll now. The question is, do you tend to concentrate your energy on building your strengths or overcoming your weaknesses?
And be honest, please be honest.
It's anonymous, so
yeah.
So I'm going to share the results with you all, which I think will be quite interesting for you.
We have an even result. Okay. So that's interesting. So 50-50 here. We've had I've got other stats. So there was a research from in Canada, and people answered 62% replied that they would concentrate on knowing their weaknesses and how to remedy them. So that was the main answer. And if you look back into your school years, when you had a report and you came back from school with your report, or your parents would open an envelope, what was the first reaction that your parents might have had? So if anyone was to share again, what was the focus on people's reaction, whether teachers, school, parents? What would they say to you?
Okay, worst subject that you need to do, what you need to do better at, stop daydreaming. What needed improving. So yeah, they'd focus on the negative, I think, is the overall.
Yeah, so I would just share my because I'm French and I come back from this very rigid school system where, yeah, you concentrate on the weaknesses all the time. And my daughter had this report where she was really struggling at maths, and I had this conversation with the teacher and I said, oh, look, she's really, really struggling at maths. And the teacher turns around and she says, yeah, but she's a great artist. And that really changed my perception. I was like, wow, this is so nice, a teacher that actually embraced my daughter's strengths rather than what she's bad at. So that's just for you. If your parents, just keep that in the back of your mind. So if you think about our culture with books and film, anything, it's like we always is part of us of our culture, and it's unfortunately a source of many disappointment. So I've got 2 myth breakers about your success at work around this facts as well. So we've always been told that with hard work you can overcome any weaknesses. If you put the effort, you will get there. So I don't know if you've been told this, but massively we're being told, put all your energy in this thing, you can do this. Yeah, so there's this culture of this is how to do things. And the second one is, if you correct this weakness, you will achieve greatness. And actually is, if you focus on your strength, that you will achieve greatness. Focusing on your weaknesses will get you to an average level, but not greatness. So this is something to again bear in mind. And now I love this picture, because for me this is really key to understand how we judge ourselves and how maybe the society will judge ourselves. So imagine you're the fish. You're a great swimmer. You can be in water for hours. You're loving your water, in your environment. You're doing great. Imagine if you're the fish and you're like, yeah, but I want to climb this tree. I need to climb this tree. This is like Mission Impossible, isn't it? You could spend your lifetime being the fish trying to find ways of climbing the tree. And if you're the monkey and you're like, yeah, I can do this very easily, you might not realize it, but actually, for the penguin, the elephant, the fish is really hard work for them, because for you it's so natural. So start looking, try to get this picture in your mind whenever we talk about strengths and weaknesses, because for me this is really showing how society is judging us as well, like ignoring our good attributes and concentrating on the stuff we can't do. Okay, so how to overcome weaknesses. So we will talk about weaknesses because there's still a important message there. So first of all, you have to decide, is it something I can do something about it? Yeah, can I get training around it? Is there a way then I can, with time, develop the skills that I'm not naturally good at? Yeah, so if this talent you don't have, even training can help, find another way. Find somebody that can complement you. Often when we're in couple and relationship, you will see that we have polar opposites, and one person will have an attribute we don't have, and this is what we complement each other. So in the workplace, we could do the same. Again, you can rearrange things that weakness is actually not so important in the way you work. And you can find new techniques. So for example, I give you my big weakness. I will own up that I'm a very disorganized person, and I've tried all my life to become organized. So the technique I'm using, I've got my Google Calendar. I couldn't live with this. I found a way to tackle this disorganization of mine. I forget things. I've got this to help me out. So I found a way. And if you have a weakness, maybe you can balance it out with a strength of yours. So that's why, again, it's important to know your strength. Any questions around this? So find a way to delegate tasks that you can't do. For example, if you're an entrepreneur and you're not good with numbers, you'll have an accountant. You're not going to spend your life trying to figure out these figures, right? You're going to pass this on, and you concentrate on what you're good at to excel in your business.
No questions there.
Yep. Okay.
Good.
So to again, I really want to nail this, because I know that we always say, yeah, I'm good at that, but there's always the but. I'm not good at this. So I really want us to understand why it's so important to know our strengths and to focus onto them. And there's tons of things here. You might think there's even other benefits to know our strength. And for me, the big thing is being happier in our lives. Once you know strength, you can increase them. You can really develop this strength because you're aware of it. And then being self-aware brings happiness. Then the big one, which is a big danger, you need to understand their downsides. If you don't know your strengths, let's say you're an achiever, you work, always more. And you might end up burnout. So this is really important. You know your strengths because they all have their downsides. Mine is I love learning. I could spend hours in learning, but if I just learn and I don't work on my business, I'm not going to make a living out of my business because I've just become a learner. So this is another important part. If you already have this strength, well, like learning, stop. You've had enough. You know, you have to know what's enough. Yeah. Okay. So you're not going to carry on working on this strength because it's there, you know. Okay. Obviously you need to maintain it, but you can shift your focus. Once you know your strength, you feel more confident in yourself. You can start using them more and you're feeling good about yourself. It will improve as well situations. So for example, my sister is a very quick thinker, really quick thinker, very quick. And but now that she knows her strength, she also knows that other people don't have this strength, and then she will improve situation by avoiding conflict because she will step back a bit, say, oh yeah, I'm a quick thinker, I need to leave space for people to think as well. For me, when I get stuck, I can rely on my social intelligence, and I will ask for help very easily because that comes very easily for me. Okay. Also, because you know your strengths, you're not going to, you can achieve the goals better, more easily. You will put more effort towards this strength, so you're going to be aligned, your goals are going to be aligned, and you're more likely to achieve these goals. Sorry. I love the create your brand because, again, the combination of your strength is going to be who you are. This is your unique selling point. This is really where you shine, and how, especially if you look for a new job, this is how you're going to show how distinctive your USP is. Yeah, your unique self. Okay. You're going to bounce back more because you know where to tap where into which strength. And I like the fact that you define your calling means once you know your strength, you can find a job which is just going to be a passion and doesn't feel like work anymore because you're so now, for example, I'm coaching, I'm using my curiosity, my empathy. I just love it. I'm in this space and I found myself. I used to be a teacher, I was really good at it, but that wasn't my calling. So there's hope somewhere, because people say, oh, that's just a job. No, you can turn a job into passion using your strength. Again, the energy factor, a strength is not draining, a weakness, focusing on your weakness is draining, is making you feel rubbish, if I want to say that, because I've made this mistake of concentrating on my weakness and feeling really bad about myself. So shifting that, you will see how you're feeling. And again, you can grow stronger. And, oops, sorry. That's me navigating between two screens. The self-assurance is really the part where you know how capable you are. You have faith in yourself. You have faith in your strength. So that's your self-assurance coming in. So you might engage in new activities you've never done before, but because you know you can rely on your strengths, you know you're going to overcome this new situation. Any comment on this? Anything you can think of that I've forgotten?
Nothing in the chat at the moment.
Okay, we can come back to it anyway later. Okay, so I don't know if out there are some CEOs, some managers, or just, you know, you have work colleagues, and how this is not just an individual level. Strengths-based interventions, I've shown that in the workplace that it will lower down your turnover of staff, because people are happier, they're more engaged. And the turnover is reduced by 14%. So this is some research from 2009. So all this is backed by research. It's just showing that not only you're going to benefit, but other people around you, your teams, your organization. So it's increased the workplace productivity, better retention, and improved performance. So I'm not going to go into details in this one because this could be probably another webinar, but think about if a company was to know, or a manager, this is your strength, they will allocate the work accordingly. You wouldn't feel bored because you will always have a task that is really matching your strength, and productivity will be developed as a result. So again, if you're finding that hard to do on your own, you can always have an intervention from somebody outside, like a coach, to come and look into this and see how people can be matched. There's a company that actually, they don't have the job title on their business card, it's that they have the strengths on their business card. So I find that quite amazing, that a new way of seeing work is that, oh, this person, she's the go-to person because she's nailing this thing that other people can't do, even if that's not a normal day-to-day job. So now we're going to look at how to spot our strengths And we have 5 steps to go into. The first one is to really look at your past and look at what you've been really good at, and how did you get to this past achievement? What was it that made it possible for you? And also by seeing that, this is so easy for me. I didn't even know that was a strength, because I thought everybody could do that. But think about things you can do that other people can't, because that will be a way to see your strength. And again, look at the how you're doing it rather than the what. And check your past performances, reviews, look at your the feedback that you've had from your managers, and what was the little things that are highlighted every time, because we said patterns as well. The second one, which I think is really good, is because sometimes it's hard for us to spot our own strength. You will probably find other people that say, oh, he's good at that, he's good at that. But for us, it's really hard to see our own strength. So by spotting other strength, you can start being more self-aware and have your visibility about your own strength. And this has got lots of benefits, because then you start having this positive look at life. Instead of concentrating on other people's weaknesses, you will start engaging with their strengths as well. And obviously, we're all going to feel good about ourselves. You'll have more positive relationships, whether at work or at home, because you're not going to be like, oh, you never do this. Instead of, oh, you never do this, but oh, look how amazing you are at this. Yeah. And then you can share the work. I mean, there's all lots of perspective, and it will encourage you basically to see your own strengths. So I don't know if you've had this strength spotting mindset already, and if you can start just thinking about a person you work with where you're like really frustrated with, but has completely dismissed their own strength. So have a different way of looking at that. So again, you have lots of free online tests, the VIA ones, which you have a summary of. It's completely free. If you want a more in-depth report, you can pay for that. The Clifton one, you just buy the book, and once you buy the book, you get a unique code, and then you can get do your StrengthsFinder. And there's other, I mean, these things you will have, but there's lots of different websites giving you these freebies. Remember, this is only one way of looking of your strengths. So don't just so take it with a pinch of salt, right? It's not because it says they will evolve. I've done this test, and some things emerges at different time of my life. So that's important. The last one, I haven't done it, but it's a very, very broad, because it's out of 60 strengths. So VIA is 24, the Clifton one is 34 strengths, and the last one is 60 strengths. And it's quite a popular one because it will show you what the downside is of the strength. So it's really well balanced, and it gives you some ideas of what job you could go for matching your strength. The other one, you have to be a bit brave. You have to ask outside people to give you feedback. So you might have done 360 feedback and asking people what they see in you. For me, it's been a very, very valuable tool, because when I coach people, I get them to send me a feedback, and I've started to see patterns, like they say that I'm laid back, that I'm easygoing, that have got a sense of humor, things like that. And for me, I didn't know this. It's only because they've reflected that back that, oh, okay, this is my USP. This is what makes me who I am, and how to embrace my difference as well. Not try to be like another coach. This is me. This is me at my best. This is the portrait I get. The feedback you can get from clients, from your employers and past employers. Have a variety of people. So you can ask about 15 people. You can do it verbally or by email. And the question you ask, what do you see me when I'm at my best? And when you get all these replies, again, people will see different things in you, so don't get upset if they don't see how kind you are. I've had that. I was like, but I am kind. Why can't you see it? So people will see different things. But then you can make this overall picture from all these things. And the idea is like you can then write your kind of mission statement, your description of yourself. You can contain a few paragraphs, and you can start by saying, when I'm at my best, and then you compose an image. And then I think this is really good to have this image of yourself in the foreground. So another way is to have a diary. Every day you could reflect on the day, say, hey, what went well today? What did I use? How did I accomplish this fantastic achievement? How was it? And it will start highlighting your strengths. It will be like before you do the thing, whilst you do the thing, and after. So for example, yesterday with Sarah and Claire, we were rehearsing this webinar. After, I was so energized. I felt really good. I was dancing in the kitchen. It didn't say that it was like amazing, but I was in the zone. I could feel that was the real me. Yeah. So please do start reflecting on your achievement and what made it so special. So so reflection, because you can start tweaking things and keep improving on things. So writing is important, and what I would say is this will help you. Let's say you're going for a new job or a new career, and you're not waiting for the question, what are your strengths, and go, what do I say? Because you will have a really clear understanding of yourself and what you can bring to a new role, and asking for a promotion, for example. So there's lots of signs to see if a strength is present. So as I said to you, there's the before, the tasks that you're doing, the activity you're doing, the during and the after is how you're going to feel. So for example, you might want to engage more with the strength. So you do, for example, for me, learning, I'll do more and more and more. So this, I can see this is my strength. And when you're using it, you're feeling successful. So lots of sign spotting, and that will give you a clear picture. Yeah, that I can see I'm using my strength here, and I'm drawn to it. So remember, it's how you feel around it, the energy it gives you. So you have all these stages. I would say try to combine all of these. Don't just do in isolation the tests or the feedback. Do a bit of them to start getting a clear picture. So it's your self-reflection and reflection from others. And also, I think for me, the really new one is spotting strength in others. It's been really a game changer for me. Welcome back. We would love to hear your reflections, and if someone is brave enough to speak out, we would love to hear from you. And if the others want to put their reflections on the chat, we'd like to hear what you've learned or discovered about yourself, or what this activity has triggered in you, if any actions will come from this. If you haven't finished the exercise, I will urge you to keep in touch with your partner, maybe exchange email, and because people did that for the values webinar, and they really enjoyed carrying on the chat with their partner. So do we have any feedback?
Yeah, someone didn't finish, unfortunately.
Okay.
So sorry about that. I think Carol's got some homework to kind of cover off if you didn't quite get round to a conclusion.
Stay in touch with their partner if they want to do some more. Yeah,
absolutely. So Anthony found it interesting. They came from completely different jobs backgrounds but shared similar qualities, which is interesting. Chatting about strengths and weaknesses without really achieving the aim. I'm not sure
Of the session, of the exercise. Oh, that's okay if they got something out of it.
Interesting exercise. It probably requires more time to reflect and dive into the how, not just the what. But surprisingly, see how many strengths came out. So thanks, Lauren. That's good feedback.
That's really good. Okay, so as people can see, this is a vast domain. So this is like a way in. Okay, so you will need more time to reflect properly. Think about if you're utilizing your strengths properly in the right context, in the right amount. So it's all about tweaking things for you. Things about your strengths, do they match your career path? Because you might have been on the wrong thing all this time. We don't know. You can aspire to different things from now on. I'm going to whiz quickly through this part, but it's a way of thinking is, now that you know your strengths, how can you make the most of them? For example, what time of the day are you at your best? How can you avoid distractions to be in the zone, to really be in this productive mindset, so that you can focus more on what you can achieve? Do you need appraisal? Do you need people to say, well done? Do you need this praise? Do you need this kind of challenge to make more of your strength? So a bit of reflection around that. So, for example, at work, you might decide, I'm going to start volunteering for doing new things that I've never tried. Think outside the box. So, for example, for me, I've started doing podcasts, things that I've never done before. Yeah, it feels a bit uncomfortable, but then I try it out. I test it. I test the water. Oh yeah, it felt good. I want to do some more. Yeah. So try to think of new ways of practicing your strength. So again, in your job, I think a good way for you is to think about your time for appraisal and maybe find new objectives that will match your strengths, how you can use more of them and feel better fulfilled at work this way. And again, engaging with other team members to see how you can share your strengths so that they can give you the job that you like more, and vice versa, sharing your strengths among each other. We will send you this as homework because we don't have time to make you do more work, and that we'll carry on with this reflection. So you're going to get the PDF. Just a nice way to finish. So to excel, your strengths need to flourish through your actions and interactions. It's about constantly tweaking your environment so that your unique contribution, your unique needs, and your unique style can be given free rein. So it's how you use the sum of your talents, not just one strength. It's the synergy of all your strengths that's going to make you flourish more. So from this activity today, I will say to you, so what action are you going to take? Are you going to do a test? Are you going to ask for feedback? Are you going to start thinking if you're overusing a strength, if you need to tune it down a bit? Because that's really important to be aware of that, because you have to be cautious and not overusing a strength as well. So to finish, I would say, obviously, because you've attended today, I'll be happy to offer you a 50% discount on any coaching session. We can look at your values and your strengths, your confidence, if you're feeling anxious, especially in these times of uncertainties, setting goals that align with your strengths. And now I have a freebie for you, is that if you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, so you've got the links there, which you will have in the PDF, all these links there. By Friday, 5 p.m., I will pick 3 people who are going to have a free coaching session with me. And that could be about anything you want. So I hope you're going to take advantage of this. And now I will ask you if you have any questions, and we're going to open up the space for some Q&A, and feel free to ask anything. If you're too shy, do it in the chat and we answer your questions, or if you want to come and speak to us, do now. We have a few minutes, and then before you leave, we will do a little photo shoot if you're happy with that. If you're not, we can remove you can move your video off. Any
Lovely.
comments?
Yeah, there's a question from Laurent. Laurent, did you want to ask that face to face to have a chat with Carol, or do you want me to ask that out loud? Let me know and we can unmute you. Otherwise, I'll just ask on your behalf. Entirely up to you. Okay, I'll ask out loud. Perfect. How do you identify what strengths will play best within a particular employer, company? In my experience, few firms will say they're looking for people with, e.g., empathy.
Few, not many. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you want to use this strength?
So how do you identify what strengths will play best within a particular employer stroke company? So I can imagine if you're applying for a role or you want to progress within a company, so knowing which strength is going to kind of make you more in their favour. So Laurent's comment was, in his experience, very few firms will say that they're looking for people with, e.g., empathy.
Okay, and actually they might not look for it, but that's what people are really praising at the moment. We all need this social intelligence, this emotional intelligence. So I think for me, saying you're a people's person, you're like, and then you can play to everybody's strengths. It's like you have this way of seeing things. So when you're looking for jobs, it's really look at the skills they're asking, and then think of, with your experience, how you've been using your strengths to do this skill set. So again, it's the how you're going to do that, yeah, or you've done that.
I think maybe, sorry, Carol, as well, looking at people's the company's core values as well might be quite a good.
Yeah, so it's the combination. You need to know their values, and also when you go to the interview, make sure that the values are really in action, because they might have a nice it's like at school, people might say, yeah, we value kids this, but actually they just look at their grades, so it's not really, the values are not really matching by the way they're acting. So you have to be really inquisitive, and if there's a strength you really want to use, maybe you're looking at the wrong industry.
Okay, excellent. Okay, and I think that covered off your comment as well, Toyin, which was many companies are looking for people with emotional intelligence and empathy. So yeah, just kind of agreeing with your comments as well there, Carol. So another question from Emma: how does what we have discussed today link with employers moving to strengths-based recruitment?
I don't know if I understand the question.
Okay. How does what we have discussed today link with employers moving to strengths?
Hiya, can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
I'll just ask it in a different way.
Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, so I work with students on careers advice, and what we're realising is that many employers are moving towards strengths-based recruitment, and I just wanted your views really on that, and how what we've talked about today might help my students in terms of preparing for strengths-based interviews or strengths-based applications, producing strengths-based applications.
So have they done tests, for example, psychometric tests? Have they done the VIA tests? Do they know?
Essentially, yeah. So essentially what we're hearing from employers is that they are moving away from competency based, so tell us about a time where you have exercised this skill, and more towards strengths based, so finding out what their preferences are, how they like to work. I guess it's more innate. So I think, you know, the obvious answer is, I think there's a lot of links between what we've talked about today and that, but I wanted your view on it really, Carol, if that's okay.
No, I think that's very good to hear that, because it means employers want to make sure, as we said before, they want to retain the have people who enjoy themselves and not bored. So it's not just the skill set, it's like, when are they at their best? And students need to reflect on that and say, yeah, so like Claire was saying about the achievement, what was it that made it so joyful, and how was she at her best? What skills did she use, but what strengths was being used as well?